All right, it's a big Friday. Wake up. Wake up. And if you're not up by now, seriously, I mean, it's 9 o'clock West Coast. It's downright noon back east. Get out of the rack.
Wake up indeed. It's great to have you here. Friday, August 15th. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you very much. This isn't an extreme early start. I know that they had to get on the practice field in Henderson, Nevada, because it turns into about 115 degrees at around 11:30. So I know that they got an early joint practice in. Plenty to talk about there, Larry. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you always. Again, like and subscribe. And let me just tell you, you're going to have lunch either today, this weekend, during the 49er and Raider game, which is happening 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. There is an Ike's in Las Vegas. Maybe you're heading out there. Maybe there is an Ike's near you. Go ahead and check out an Ike's sandwich. You'll be very happy that you did. Sign up for that Love Rewards program. Get yourself free chips and drinks. And my good friends at the Dubliner, Larry, I'm a walking billboard for the Dubliner today. My boys over on West Portal, go see them. You might need to drink if another guy hyperextends his knee this weekend.
You know, if that comes in 2X, I may have to hit the Dubliner up for one of those. I could wear a Dubliner shirt. I sat at the guardsman's dinner with the people from the Dubliner, and the guy was really nice. We chopped it up, and
yeah, Kenny loved you, man.
And that's a good guy, and that's a great place. So yeah, if you're in the city and you need a pint, man, head over to the Dubliner in West Portal.
Let me do a commercial for you and your sponsors, Larry, because I'm telling you, I want the brisket mac and cheese, and I want it soon from Pig in the Pickle. Let's not screw around. Let's take some of the best words in the world, brisket, mac and cheese, you put them together, and then you get fat. It's fantastic.
It's, I'll say this. They do a brilliant white cheddar mac and cheese at Pig in a Pickle. Mac and cheese is the only thing that I won't eat. I don't eat mac and cheese. Oh, I'm not a mac and cheese guy. My kids, are you kidding me? They love it. I mean, it's like they live for it. But me, not so much. Just never been into the mac and cheese. But they do have a great version of mac and cheese there. Awesome brisket, awesome chicken, barbecue, pulled pork. You can't beat it. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera, open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So get there early. Get some brisket chili. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. My good friend Anthony Catania is at 831-521-5264. And we're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. They're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Brand new locations in Capitola and Visalia Mall. And we should tell you, everybody hit like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss a minute of Damon or I on our channels. And remember, at least on our side, once the live stream wraps, you can catch the full replay. Anywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever your favorite platform is, just search The Krug Show on our end and you'll find us. But we got a lot to get to, Damon. So let's jump right to it.
You want to get into the positive? Let's talk positive. I mean, I'm not sitting here talking about, a great day of joint practice at training camp, but when the offense looks good from all precincts reporting, that is good news, especially with the slow start that the 49ers had offensively in their joint practice with the Denver Broncos. Shoe was on the other foot against the Las Vegas Raiders. A really good day for Brock Purdy. Decent afternoon for Ricky Pearsall, who keeps on stacking decent performance on top of one another. And Kittle, as always, again, wrap those guys up. I don't think they need much more preseason work, but maybe just availability will mean we see some of these guys 1 o'clock at Allegiant on Saturday. But Larry, it sounded like a very crisp day for the 49ers offense, defense, a little bit more complicated, but we'll start with the sunny side here on a Friday. What'd you think?
What do I think about the
good news on a smooth offensive practice against the Raiders?
Well,
what's that mean exactly? What does that really mean?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, other than the Niners offense, according to the reports, did well against the Raider defense. And I wasn't there. According to the reports, the Raider offense did well against the Niner defense. On paper, Damon, it should be a defense that's a work in progress with a lot of new starters, a brand new coordinator, new players on all three levels. And on paper, offensively, the 49ers should be pretty good, right? I mean, it's Shanahan's system. It's been in place for years. Brock's the quarterback. He's been in charge. He's been in place at the number one quarterback spot for years. You have a offensive line continuity that you're only changing out one offensive lineman.
Right.
You have Kittle.
It is there.
You've got Kittle and Pearsall and CMC and, a whole bevy of other weapons, including Demarcus Robinson, eventually Brandon Ayuk. So I think it's logical to say that the Niners should be a team that's led by their offense. They were dead last in special teams. They're hoping that reverses itself. So it should be their offense leads the way. But at least against Denver in the first preseason game, granted it was with Mac Jones and Carter Bradley, and it's hard, and against a pretty good Denver defense that was third in the NFL last year in points allowed, but the offense didn't do anything, and the offense produced one touchdown, and that was it. So, yes, there's big names on offense. Yes, there's big expectations on offense, but we've seen the Niner offense stymied last year with a lot of these same weapons. So, I'll hold off grading all three sides of the ball until actual real football happens. But, I do like the fact that CMC had a good day. I do like the fact that Kittle has had a great camp. And I do like the fact that Ricky Pearsall has had a phenomenal week since he got back on the field. So those are three guys that without Brandon Ayuk, I think are absolutely going to have to be massive parts of what the Niners do. And at least, in August, it looks good.
Yeah. I mean, what does that mean once the regular season starts? Could mean a lot, could mean nothing. Again, all I really want to hear out of any 49er practice, their own joint practice preseason game, which is just glorified practice that they sell tickets to. I want to hear injury-free. And unfortunately, injury-free isn't a phrase that you can attach to many 49ers practices or days even. It is, look, I'm not being accusatory of, I'm not saying that there's any negligence here, that this is a distrust of a medical staff, but the Bay Area, the Bay Area really does have like some of the best body scientists in the world. The 49ers are acutely aware of their own injury problems over the last handful of years, and I'm sure have lifted heaven and earth to address it all, Larry. Stretch more, stretch less, more calisthenics, less calisthenics, more push-ups, less macaroni and cheese. Like whatever they're implementing to get better and stay healthier, I'm sure they're doing it, but man, it just does not seem to work. And again, sometimes you can see it. CJ West, hyperextended knee. Sometimes you can't see it. You have no idea what happened. They had to tell the guy he was basically hurt after an exam, the Jordan Watkins thing. So it's just been a trying preseason once again from an injury standpoint. CJ West yesterday hyperextended his knee in that joint practice with the Raiders. And what is that going to mean for his week one? Probably nothing. Hopefully he's back and everything's fine. But Larry, this is a team that has drafted 3 rookie defensive linemen, and each of them to some degree, luckily not a severe degree, but each of them has been a little hurt already in this preseason. And, I had a feeling that 49ers fans were going to start feeling like these ominous signs start to pile up a little bit when it comes to these injuries. We sort of whistled through the graveyard last preseason. Well, there's a little whistling going on right here, right now. And hopefully this team gets its injury bug under control quickly. They're kicking off in 23 days. 23 days is that first game against the Seahawks up in Seattle.
Okay, well, I mean, let's, first of all, what's really frustrating is not just that the Niners are hurt this year, it's that they're hurt every year.
All the time.
And they've been among the most injured teams in this entire Shanahan regime. They've led the league in injuries twice in a very short amount of time. So that's the real concern.
And in the handful of years they haven't been hurt, they're in an NFC title game or a Super Bowl. That's all.
They've even gotten far in the playoffs in years where they've been, right in the top 10 of injuries. So, just, the people that want to push back on this always want to push back in the moment, because the moment is always like a 50-50 thing. Like, oh yeah, well, this injury, that injury. It's like, well, okay, let's back away and take a broader view of this thing and forget this injury, that injury, and start debating how each individual injury happened, and just start looking at the whole, the group, the entirety of the thing. And I would say, first of all, kill the absurd angle that some people are throwing at that they don't stretch. No.
Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
What happened was the 49ers played the Broncos, and the Broncos have if you know Levi's, the Niners have their locker room, and the visiting locker room, if you've been in both, the Niner locker room is gigantic.
Yeah.
It's massive. You could, most people would have a hard time throwing a baseball from one end of the locker room to the other end of a locker room. It's big. It's a big locker room.
Thousands of square feet.
It's very, very big locker room. The visiting locker room, by comparison, has low ceilings and is very tight, which is going to be interesting, by the way, because if the Niners were to go to the Super Bowl this year, and I believe the NFC is the road team, the Niners would be in their road locker room and the AFC team would be in their locker room for the Super Bowl. How strange is that? How
about this? It's a deal with the devil. I think every Niner fan would be willing to make today.
I know.
You're in the Super Bowl at home, but you got to use the funny locker room. Fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
no problem.
Exactly. But so in the Denver joint practices, people saw that Denver stretched in line like high school teams, college teams do, like many NFL teams do, and the Niners just came out for the most part, did their light, warm up in the corner and then hit the field. But they stretch. And this idea that anybody plays football without stretching is absurd. These guys do stretch. They're just stretching inside. And why do I know this? Because when they went to Vegas yesterday, there were the Niners on the field stretching. Why? Because they don't have their own inside locker room to stretch. So this absurdity that somehow the 49ers are the one football team in the world that doesn't stretch before they take the field was and is and always was absurd. And I never really entertained that. It was like, come on, are you really saying that they don't stretch just because you don't see it? I mean, let's get a grip. Okay, that's one. Two, this is happening year after year after year. So it's time to start looking at things and asking why, or forget asking why, Damon. How about if this is our reality, for example, and this is, right? This is the 49ers reality. Then how do you deal with your reality? Why don't we start there? Because I think that's probably the healthier spot. And I would say my way to deal with this is the Niners. Dieter had an interesting thought last night because I asked him this question. He said that he thinks that the 49ers have too many players that are in the twilight or at the beginning. And he thinks that guys in the twilight or at the beginning of their career are much more likely to be injured than guys who are in the bulk of their youth, years 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say. And he
feels
thinks
a little bit like an uncompatible just reality, though, right? Every team is made up of the older guys who are still here because it's their second or third contract, and then your rookie class. You're not going to get rid of either, but maybe a more robust middle class. I mean, how about this? I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep on going. I have my own thing. By the way, I don't think I can fix this. I can fix it. I'm like Spicoli looking at the car. I can fix it. I can't prevent injuries, but I can help teams circumnavigate them. And all it'll take is a little bit of money. We'll get to all that in a second. I don't think they're doing anything physically negligent. How do you prevent injuries in a full-on fledged, you're going to get an injury sport? There is no uninjured football player throughout a year. Even the guy who's playing is hurt a little. So
every time you play, if you play for real, there's injuries. My son is playing freshman football. They just started hitting this week. He already has probably a broken wrist. You know what I mean? It's like, right. If you don't want to see your kids hurt, don't let them play football. Okay. Because basically it's 100% injury sport. You will get hurt. It's just a matter of what. So that's it. That's different than the other sports. The other sports are not like that. You're not definitely going to get hurt playing basketball. You're not definitely going to get hurt playing baseball. You're definitely going to get hurt playing football. There is no such thing as I played my whole career. I had nothing. No. Then you didn't play very well. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not very good. But I would say how you combat it, at least for me, I would not allow the Niners have 7 key players. Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Trent Williams on offense. Those are their 4 guys, and they got 1 on each level of the D. Bosa, Warner, and Lenore. Those are their 7 gotta have it players. You could debate whether Ricky, Pearsall, or Pooney or a couple other guys belong on the list, but that's basically their 7 guys. I wouldn't play those 7 guys. I would do what Sean McVay does with all of his key guys. I wouldn't play my key 7 guys. That's it. I just won't. And then you're going to get hurt no matter what at some point, but the fewer games you play, the better chances. So I won't play my top 7 guys, but I do think your young guys, the CJ West, the Alfred Collins, the Nick Martins, the Darrell Looters, all these guys in their first 3 years, they got to play. And I do believe, it's the question, the age-old question. What's the better way to get ready? Is it better to do what Sean McVay does and sit out everybody of importance in the preseason and make sure they're there when it counts week 1? Or do you need those calluses to get through an NFL season? And Shanahan's kind of an old school believer that you have to build up those calluses. And
hey, look,
maybe that's a fallacy that maybe he's just slow to adapt, and that's a big fallacy, and that's not the future, but that's the way he does it.
It's a tough needle to thread, right? I think there's an awful lot of evidence that either side could prevent to say this is the right way to do it. The entire history of tough guy football means go out and develop those calluses. It is modern sports that have really suggested, less is more. Go to the mirror, turn around, and the first thing you see, take it off. That's the right way to accessorize, right? That's what they tell the ladies. That you don't want something that catches your eye too. You just don't want to catch an injury. I mean, here's the thing. Nobody's ever complained about a guy playing in a game in which he didn't get hurt. But as soon as somebody gets hurt, now you start complaining. So it's tough to figure out. What I think, though, and this is sort of going to tie to the just staggering amount of revenue that this league is now bringing in and what these franchises are now worth. Larry, it's time for football to say, we're growing our regular season by games. We're at 16, we're at 17. The goal is 18. You all know if they could buy 20 regular season games today, they would. They would absolutely do it. So what do you want to do here? What do you want to do? Grow the rosters, grow practice squad, grow who dresses on game day. All that takes is more money. And as guys go down, the product, hopefully, say a little prayer, remains similar. Now, nothing can be the same when you start losing starters and stars, but hopefully it's similar. Hopefully continuity gets you through some injuries with the unheralded, understudies. You got to have somebody who's really good to play the part of Hamilton if Lin-Manuel Miranda is sick tonight. You see how much they paid for these tickets? The tickets didn't guarantee the guy would be playing Hamilton, but they spent $900 face value to see him. He's not here. We still got to put on the show. It better be good. And I just think that you can have more of an opportunity to produce good quality football with your backups. If you have more backups, there is no argument that can be presented that more depth is a bad thing to a league. Might cost you a little bit today, but if more people keep watching teams whose seasons should be over because of injury, that's better ratings, that's better overall revenue, it's better overall health of the league. It's time to take game day rosters from 53 to 60 and your full roster to 80 guys, 90 guys.
Well, it kind of is there. It's kind of there. I mean, you have 53 guys on the roster, and when they first started the taxi squads, you had 4 extra guys. Now you have 16, I believe. So you have 53, and then you have your 16, 15. You have 15 practice squad guys, and each team has an international player. The Niners' international player in the past has been Alfredo Gutierrez. Now it's Sebastian. Now it's Isaac Alarcon. But so they have 16 practice squad guys. So the 53 plus 16. So you're getting up there. I'm with you. I've been talking about this for a long time. I personally believe that the NFL should grow their season. But as you said, do it with more bodies, spread out the punishment, and have a secondary league that is a true developmental league. So a lot of these players that are on your roster but never play have a place to play, right? So you have you have a season. You have your NFL season, you have your practice squad. I agree. Let's grow the practice squad 4 more guys. Let's take it from 53 to 22. So from 53 rosters and 16 to 22. So now you have 75 guys. So now you have 75 man.
A guy roster. Like Isaiah Nair, who they didn't really know about. They thought, they saw him make some plays, and then they just got into that roster numbers crunch due to injuries, and we got to bring in like 3 more defensive linemen because our entire defensive line fell getting off the bus today. So, Isaiah Nair would still be in a 49ers uniform, and they'd still be kicking the tires on him if they had more roster flexibility. And all it would take for the league to grant that is money. And that's the one thing that the football's not going to run out of. It is.
Well, that goes to my point, which is, get out. Acknowledge that instead of trying to make football wussified and, killing what makes it popular, which is the gladiator nature of the hitting. Keep the gladiator nature of the hitting, but take care of your guys. Look the people in the eye. I'll tell you, the NFL doesn't get it yet. I still think we're in the early stages of the NFL. If you really think about it, the NFL really blew up in the 80s, and we're in the early stages still of the NFL. I think eventually we still have people debating about safety and this and that. And I think the best way is to make the game exciting and fun and violent, but offer lifetime medical to everybody who ever plays a down.
Right.
And then what you say to your audience is just simple. Hey, football isn't for everybody, but we take care of our own. Everybody who ever plays a down gets lifetime medical in this league. And then, yes, there's an enormous cost to that. But the price that you gain in positive PR because you are taking care, because right now you're putting it on the Niners, you're putting it on the Dolphins, you're putting it on the Jets, you're putting it on the Packers to come up with some program within their organization to take care of their retired players. And the Niners are doing it, the Dolphins are doing it, a couple teams are copying it. But if you're a Jaguar and you have problems post-career, a lot of these NFL players, the quarterbacks make millions. A lot of these other guys, they have a 3-year career and they topped out at $700,000. I'm not crying for him. That's a ton of money, but it's a 3-year career at $700,000. He's got $2.1 million and it disappears quick. And if you spend it at all recklessly, it disappears instantly. So I would say 80% of NFL players have to have a second career after the NFL. That's not the way it should be. This is the most popular sport in the world. This is easily the most popular sport in America. This thing mints money. You mentioned the relative health of the industry. This is an industry that has gone in our just last 10 years from like a $10 billion industry to like a $30 billion industry. It's grown by $20 billion in like the last 15 years. There is no industry in America that's grown by $20 billion in the last 10, 12 years. So the NFL is an incredibly burgeoning, healthy endeavor, very, very popular business model. And they need to graduate from their mom and pop roots to where guys the refs are school teachers on a Thursday and are reffing the game on a Sunday, and they signed Bob off Kroger. He was working at Kroger's on Tuesday, stocking shelves, and he's middle linebacker for the Rams on Sunday. Those stories sound quaint, but they're really back to the mom and pop roots. That's not what you should have. You would have a higher brand of football if you had more guys who knew the offense, who knew the defense, and didn't just show up on Wednesday. But there's not a commitment.
There's not a single industry in America that wouldn't instantly improve if profits, instead of being hoarded on by the guys up top, were shared better and employees were protected. That's it. Again, like I think it was Bill Burr. I was watching the comedian the other day, and he's like, you know what? If you are a billionaire who runs a company that isn't giving dental to the single mothers who work at your company, you're an asshole. Like, you can keep $900 million, pretend you're a billionaire, and take care of your employees. You talk about the extraordinary cost of giving lifetime medical to anyone who ever plays it down. That cost is easily offset, again, by the rising, cannot go broke, too big to fail league that it all exists in. And think about all the official insurance partners of the NFL. You telling me there can't be some trade out underwriting of this whole thing? Of course there can be. There is a way to get it done and protect the players from catastrophic injury. No doubt about it. Some of the numbers, Larry, again, we got 3 teams now in the $10 billion or more club. The Giants and Rams have joined the Cowboys. The Cowboys are worth nearly $13 billion, up 24% year over year. Again, 24% growth year over year. But you got to keep your rosters where they are, and you don't protect your players. By the way, if you're Micah Parsons, you're just walking that number into Jerry's office and going, pay me. What are you doing? The average value, throw a rock, hit an NFL team. The average value is $7.1 billion. The Bengals,
look at the Niners,
worth $5.5 billion.
What are the Raiders worth?
The Raiders are now like the 8th most valuable team in all of football. They used to be dead last.
Mark Davis is just, the idiot kid of Al Davis, who Al was probably ashamed of for years and years. And now he's, saddled up to Adelson, moved his team from, he's absolutely poor in Oakland, can't get a new stadium deal, has no money, can't really compete, gets a sweetheart deal to jump to Vegas. And now what did you say they're worth? Let's just look at it this way. If you have an asset, I don't care what it is. I don't care. This could be your asset right here. If it's worth $15 billion, guess what you can do with this? You can borrow against this. This is an asset. So when you're the Raiders,
the Raiders are the 9th most valuable NFL property now. It's 7.9. Let's just call it $8 billion.
Right. So Mark Davis went from nothing to, hey man, I got a hot young girlfriend. I got a pimp house in Henderson. I'm the toast of the town, up and down the strip, and I am somebody. He went from a nobody disgrace to somebody by giving a huge chunk of his franchise to Adelson.
He bought a WNBA team.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. It's like these leagues, I don't want to hear them cry poor. The 49ers have bought multiple soccer teams just in the last 10 years. It's like these owners are accruing such ungodly wealth that they don't know what to do. It's like, oh, well, what else can we do to increase our massive sports portfolio? And so it's like, yeah, and it's never more expensive. It is the NFL, the way they treat their players right now is criminal. It is criminal. The top end of the wage scale, the quarterbacks are doing great. But man, there's so many guys that are destitute within 3 or 4 years of playing in the league. And this is the most popular sport in the world, and definitely the most popular sport in America. It's the most visually compelling entertainment there is, and they should be compensated handsomely and have lifetime medical, and they don't.
The average NFL team's revenues are now nearly $700 million a year. Meaning this is what you're bringing in. This is what you got at the end of the day. Business concludes. Here's what you got. The average NFL team, the average NFL owner is looking at nearly $700 million in annual revenue. Now there's a really kind of interesting thing. Have you ever heard of what is it called? What would they call it? EBITDA or whatever it is, the average team, it's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. In other words, this is the whole pie. This takes into what you're making, what you're spending on payroll tax, what it costs to put a new can of paint on your concession stand, from what it costs to buy the hot dogs that you then turn around and sell for a profit. This factors in the price of the nacho cheese at wholesale. This is everything an NFL team brings. And basically, the average team is quarterly improving $151 million a quarter. In other words, this earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation thing, it's a way to assess a business's performance before accounting the, capital structure, the tax situations, non-cash expense. This is some serious business school shit. And basically, this number is any idiot in America makes almost $200 million a quarter if you just own an NFL team. You turn on the lights, you've made $200 million this quarter. You can't screw it up. You can be caught banging a secretary on the 50-yard line. You're still going to make that. You're still going to make that. You cannot fuck that up. So it's insane that all that revenue isn't reinvested in player health, which again would do wonders for any public PR, everything. I can even, you can imagine the NFL finally got it right and did right by their players. And this isn't just about what they paid and they get paid well, but this is about actually protecting the most dangerous athletic endeavor you can basically take on outside of, what I guess car racing might be, deliver more catastrophic injuries than, but that's it. I mean, it's a small list of things that are a more dangerous sport than football. So it's time. Look, you can't prevent anybody from getting hurt, but what you can do is take care of that hurt person and ensure that your product doesn't go sliding down the hill of watchability the minute important players still get hurt, because a little continuity and extra depth it's the right thing to apply to a very hard situation to figure out.
I mean, it's pathetic what their situation is right now. I don't know if you saw the latest from the Niners, the guy that they're working out. Did you see this guy?
No. Who's it? They're working out 5 new guys every 10 minutes. This guy?
Look at this. They're working out this guy. I mean,
was that Favre? Look at that hair. Look at that gray hair right there. Now let's see what's going on here. Let's see. First of all, I'm just going to say, I like the hand placement. You can tell this prospect has got strong hands. I don't know about hand fighting. Let's see how we get that up. Oh, that's a nice clean rep. We're talking about no one even spotting. That takes confidence. I'm a little bit worried that we have no collars on either of those plates, Larry. But outside of that, let me tell you, man.
That is me from the gym the other day. For those who are going, what the hell is that?
Larry.
Yeah. Yes. Larry. And I only brought this up because, yes, it's a humble brag. But also, we have people in the chat here. We had Joe Sullivan. I saw Larry on X throwing up 225.
There you go, baby.
And then I was going to let it go, but then Smiley Dan, who I shared a pie with, is in here as well. Smiley, where is he? Oh, here it is. Smiley Dan. What's up, Smiley? He said, Joe Sullivan, dude, I had to go back and check out Larry pumping the weight. That was impressive. Hell yeah, crew. Thank you, Smiley Dan. It was all because of the pizza that we shared.
Here, still never satisfied, saying, put another 45 plate on it, you wuss. You just can't make the internet happy.
There was a guy next to me at the gym the other day, and he had 3 plates on there, which is 305. And he was a big dude, right? And I looked over to Adam after, and he didn't ask me for a spot. He's just doing 3 plates. So that's pretty freaking amazing.
Repping 3 plates. That's
like
big boy.
Reps. dude.
That's big boy.
7 reps. And I just said to him, I go, bro, I go, what are you playing the NFL? You're just screwing around. And you know what he says to me? He goes, Krug loved the show. I couldn't believe it. He'd never said anything to me before. He's like, Krug loved the show. I said, oh man. He goes, yeah, man, I watch you. I watch Damon. I watch all your streams. He's like, I see you guys. He goes, I played basketball at UC Davis. And I said, you played basketball? The guy's benching 305. He's a pretty big dude. But yeah, he was a basketball player at Davis out of nowhere.
Well, Larry, again, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So it's nice to see you staying ready. You promised us a healthier, stronger training camp coverage than ever before. I think you've delivered. So thank you. We're just worried about your sun protection at times. I'm not going to.
Seriously, I got to go see the dermatologist. I may have some dermatologist.
Just burn. My mom lives in Sarasota, Florida now. She's getting something burned off her face every 3 months. So just go ahead and do that. Keep that up there, Larry. But look, getting back to
let's talk Niners. Let's not talk about NFL.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about how the 49ers now approach this game, knowing that you really don't have the bodies to just say we ain't playing our starters. Like I heard Shanahan saying we might see Purdy 1 o'clock.
Well, he's going to play. I mean, I asked Purdy 10 days ago, Brock, do you need to play in the preseason at all? What do you need to get ready for week 1? And he's like, oh yeah, well, he's like, first he's thinking about what's our plan. So he's like, I haven't talked to Shanahan about it, but I would like to play. A little bit. Now, my thing was 5 series, 1 in game 1, 1 in game 3, 2 or 3 in game 2 against the Raiders. But I think what it's going to be is maybe none. Well, there was none in game 1, maybe none in game 3, and maybe 1 or 2 in game 2. So I do think Brock's going to play a series. But it's also going to be about how well are the Niners blocking, because there will be no Trent Williams. And a lot of people don't want to put Brock out there without Trent Williams, and I totally understand that. But Brock wants to play offensive football. I think there's 3 things. We talked about this. There's 3 things that get done in the preseason. You get offensive continuity and rhythm, because that's what offense is. You get guys hurt seriously sometimes for the year. I mean, I'm talking about how this really impacts your football team. Your offense gets better, your roster gets worse because you don't add guys, you lose guys. Or there's no such thing as we went to the second preseason game and we added guys. No, you lost guys. And then the only way you offset this is by finding, gems, right? Rookies, undrafted guys, whatever, maybe free agents. So you discover a few gems, you lose some guys. Those kind of balance each other out.
Chase Lucas, baby.
Chase Lucas, if you like him, and then you get a little offensive continuity. So having Brock in there and developing a little offensive continuity, especially since, the defense could be a struggle early, and you're going to need the offense to carry you. And Seattle in week 1, Dieter thinks Seattle's got the best defense in the division. And I do see it's Michael McDonald. He's a real good coordinator. They got a great secondary. They got big Leonard Williams up front. They've improved their linebacking core. So, yeah, I do think Seattle's defense is tough. So, yeah, I would like the offense to get just a little bit of in-game rhythm. Other than that, I'm sitting all my guys, and I'm sitting all my primary guys. And I'm trying to get through the game as quickly and as quietly and as injury-free as possible. And for the 49ers, they really can't afford to lose too many more guys. They had a practice yesterday where they basically had like 20 to 25 guys out of their camp roster.
More guys unavailable than last year when they canceled their joint practice with the Chargers, right? I mean, so
that's why I didn't go to Vegas. People are saying, Krug, why didn't you go to Vegas? I didn't go to Vegas. I mean, we have a sponsor that's willing to pay for me to travel to a lot of these games, and I really am appreciative of that. And we will be traveling from time to time, but I didn't want to do last year. Lots of people in the media booked trips to, I think it was LA, because the Niners were going to practice with the Saints. Well, guess what? The Niners are rich. The Niners have the ability. The Niners had 24 guys hurt, and Shanahan canceled it. But he didn't cancel it until like 2 days before. Well, that screws over the people with flights and hotels and all that stuff. So I wasn't going to take a chance with the Niners being as banged up as they are, that they had some 11th hour pivot, and then I'm stuck with all the, the bill. So, or at least the sponsors are. So I don't want to stick it to my sponsors.
And apparently too, from all precincts reporting from Henderson, Nevada, is that the media is kept even dramatically further away from the teams and team action at their training camp that the Raiders put on than even what the 49ers put on.
Well, that was the deal last year. That was another reason I didn't do it. But this year, I guess they were closer. This year, I think the vantage point was better.
Oh, good.
At least from what I'm gathering and from what I could kind of see from some of the stuff that was filmed. But either way, also, I wasn't
much worse than where they were last year. So congratulations on getting a little bit better.
I've seen a lot of football practice this summer, right? I've been at almost every, well, not almost. I've been at every single practice until yesterday. So,
how about this? It's real simple.
I can save the money.
Here's a little lesson that everyone should take to heart. Whether you got a YouTube channel, you're a content creator, you're a fan, you work for NFL Network. You should never get on an airplane for football practice. You just shouldn't. You should never get on an airplane to cover football practice.
If it's Super Bowl or something, it's one thing.
That's a little different. So week 1, the only presumed veteran starters who hit the field were D. Winters on defense and Ben Barch on offense. Well, guess what? Even Ben Barch got hurt this week, so maybe he's out of that lineup. I mean, it is a little bit crazy. And look, did the 49ers do something that either triggers an injured player's ability to get paid, or did they actually just clear a guy who is now out for the rest of the year in like 48 hours after they just cleared him? Andre Dillard, a hope to be swing tackle for the 49ers, hit season-ending IR. They took him off the PUP list. He had one practice, season over. What happened? Like, what the hell happened?
He obviously had a knee injury, and they got him up. They felt like they got him up to speed, and then he had a recurrence of the knee injury.
That's bad.
But this is a big problem because, Dillard, the Niners don't have a third tackle. I know there's a lot of people. It's funny. Everybody's got a different perspective on this. I did a stream yesterday. I did a segment with Lombardi for Niners Nightly, and he likes Burford. I don't. I like Burford as a guy, but I do not like Burford as a tackle. He's not a tackle. And to me, he's going to get Brock absolutely killed. Pleasance and Burford, Pleasance looked great in the OTAs, but he has not looked great this summer, and Burford has not looked great. And now Dillard, who's, has experience as a pass blocker and is probably a better pass blocker than those two guys, he's now on IR, season over. So if you like Burford and Pleasance, then you're fine.
Then you got nothing to worry about. But if you're worried about them,
but if you don't like them,
worry about.
I would say it's Isaiah Prince or somebody from outside the organization. And,
again,
that's the other
what
thing.
What is really available outside the organization right now? You're talking scraps. These are the crumbs of offensive line that you're trying to find sandwich bread through. It's
you maybe have to. This is worthy of trading an asset for. You got to have a third tackle. You can't just go into the year. How reckless do you want to be? It's like, hey man, I just bought a Lamborghini. Awesome. Did you get insurance? Nah, I probably won't get in an accident. What? People go and when you go to Best Buy, do you get the warranty ever? Do you ever buy the warranty? Well, it's the same thing here. It's like you're going to spend $265 million on Brock Purdy. And basically, let's call Brock Purdy a mansion. You just spent $265 million on a mansion. And to have Burford and Pleasance is like not having a front door or a back door. So why spend $265 million on a mansion if you're going to leave the back door open and the front door open? Why have Brock Purdy if you can't protect him and you're going to protect him with guards? first of all, guard tackles make a ton more than guards, a ton. So if Spencer Burford really was a tackle, he would have been a tackle because he's getting paid more to be a tackle. He didn't just volunteer to be a guard because, you know what? I just don't want to make that much money. He's not good enough with his footwork to be a guard. Name me the guys who've gone from guard to tackle and done it successfully. And I asked this to Dieter. He's like, Joe Tooney. But come on, that doesn't count. Joe Tooney was a great player. He's an all-pro player at guard or tackle or center. And he said that you can play him wherever you want. The reality is,
Matthew?
Guards don't move to tackle.
Right.
Tackles when they slow down move to guard, but guards don't move to tackle. And so for the Niners to take two guards and basically say you're tackles,
look at it this way:
it works in name, but it only works in name because your quarterback's going to get keyholed.
Mekhi Becton is a perfect example of this. Yeah. Mekhi Becton at tackle, guard, all pro,
right?
So
you gotta have big size, you gotta have strength. That
you gotta be fast. You gotta be. I mean, that's the difference.
You gotta find somebody. They have to find a tackle because Burford is so slow-footed that and it's like Shanahan had all the excuses built up. Oh my God, it's so ridiculous. The first play, that was not on Burford. That was on the tight end coming across the formation. Well, it was awful play design, or he was lined up wrong. Okay, so that one wasn't on Burford. The second one, the lineman got out of his stance. Burford barely even touched him. He just whiffed. That one was on Burford. The third one, I guess he was expecting a chip. But, you're the offensive tackle. Your job is to block that guy. You get a little help, but you got to block that guy. You can't block that guy into the chipper. That's what Burford got beat bad, and he blocked the guy in. He blocked Benito into the chipper. The chipper is going to be a tight end, a running back, or a receiver. You're the tackle. It's your job to block him. And Shanahan tried to make it sound like he had a total free rep because he thought he was getting help and didn't get the help. You basically passed it off. You're the 300-pounder. You passed it off on somebody who's not a 300-pounder. So make any excuse you want. How about this? No more excuses and just do the goddamn job. How about just block the guy in front of you? And if a guy can't block the guy in front of him, how about find somebody who can? Instead of gaslighting us for saying that a guy who can't pass block can't pass block. The guy's too slow-footed to pass block. I've watched it all summer. Pleasant's too slow-footed to pass block. Bryce Huff is going by him in practice. He's not getting a finger on him. These guys are too slow to play tackle. Do not make me, have to see you guys lose your starting quarterback before you figure this out. But that's where they're at.
This is not to be a shot at Nick Martin, but they reached on Nick Martin because they thought the reach on Nick Martin was more value than any current offensive lineman who happened to be right there for them. I hope you're right about that. This team has been trying to use a Groupon along its offensive line, with the exception of Trent Williams, for a little bit too long now. They have pushed this Moneyball offensive line construction, I think, as far as it can possibly go. And the best it's gotten them is average. I think you need an above average offensive line if you really want to have an above average playoff appearance. And again, they are 1 5-week stretch of Trent Williams can't go from being in an awful lot of trouble. They really, really are. And here's the deal. When it comes to you can't get excited about that guy, new guy in here. Can you get excited about him? Can you get, Connor Colby knocked over Max Crosby. I saw somebody tweet out. That's great. That's fantastic. No, play him and let's see if he can really get it done in this game, because this offensive line, it ain't going to stay healthy all year. That's my promise to you. And we can't even get excited about a guy like Bradley Anae Did we even get to know his name before he got hurt? This was a defensive end that they brought in to sort of fluff that position, which was getting a little shallow in the depth chart. You and I both agreed when we saw him at practice, like, hey, looks pretty good. The Robert Saleh even said this was a guy who was hurt. Now he's not hurt. He's with us. Looks pretty good. Guess what? Injured reserved list, just like that. It's rough on the Niners on an injury front.
Here's a rep. There's a lot of people that think that, first of all, rookies usually lose to veterans in one-on-ones. Why? Because the veterans have all the tricks of the trade. It's a big hand fight. And so the rookies always typically lose, in these one-on-ones. Here is Brendel going up against J.J. Pegues. I love J.J. Pegues in this draft. I was hoping the Niners would grab him. And this is a typical rep. This is kind of why I think Brendel is not their best option at center. Look at Pegues just go right by him. He's just right by. That's the quarterback. Yeah. That's basically that offensive lineman standing back there is not just a guy. That's the quarterback. 55 is the quarterback. He just went right by Brendel, got by him, and is in front. And this is why. This is just another reason why the Niners really have to find some new interior players. If there's one thing, can we get Sebastian Valdez a non-contact jersey, or have a water boy play you're representing the quarterback? What if Pegues trips there, his head goes into freaking Sebastian Valdez's knee, and now he can't go? I mean, that's not Sebastian Valdez.
I thought I saw 55 right there.
Yeah, that's 55. There's two. That's Drew right. Moss. This is the offensive line.
But Drew Moss might be starting at guard for this freaking team at some point.
That's what I was going to say is that the one positive that I saw from the Niners this summer that I wasn't expecting is that Connor Colby and Drew Moss look really good.
They do look good,
and I think Drew Moss is their future starter at center. And I think Connor Colby's the starter in the present. One of the more at left guard. I think it's one of the most interesting things I think that has happened this summer is I watched a lot of one-on-ones and a lot of practice, and it seemed like Connor Colby was just getting destroyed in the one-on-ones. So I asked Chris Forster, "What do you think of him as a pass blocker?" Thinking he's going to say, "Hey, wow, he needs a lot of work," and he said, "Yeah, he looks great." And I was like, what? He looks great. He's getting destroyed in the one-on-ones. And then he sees the look on my face as he's saying he looks great. Like, what the hell are you talking about? And he goes, oh, no, I know he's losing a lot of the one-on-one. So obviously I had a look on my face like, you're got to be crazy. And he goes, I know he's losing a lot of the one-on-ones, but in the five-man protection, he is like, I look at him the way I looked at Dom Pooney last year. And I said, wow, that opened my eyes when he said that. I said, how so, Chris? And he's like, well, last year we knew that Dom Pooney could pass protect. And if you can pass protect, you can play at this level because it's very much a passing league. He needs coaching as a run blocker, even though that was the book at Iowa that Colby was really good as a run blocker. And he says he's really good as a pass protector. Sure enough.
Look, Iowa's never been known for its wide open pass first offense. That is a very meat and potatoes Big Ten team if there ever was one. So you would expect your running grade curve will forever be ahead of your pass blocking.
It was
grade.
the opposite. It's the opposite. And according to him, and then Shanahan kind of confirmed that. And then the PFF numbers confirmed that Moss and Colby had really, really good numbers. And then Zakel really struggled. And now we've seen Colby running with the ones at left guard. So personally, I really think, Connor Colby started 50 games at Iowa. It's a really well-coached offensive line. It's the same system that the Niners use. Put that guy, I love Ben Bartch as a guy, but Ben Bartch gets hurt all the time. Put Connor Colby at left guard and forget about it. And now you would have Colby and Pooney. And to me, I would do it for a lot of reasons. I would do it because I think that he's the best player. I think he's the better player between him and Bartch. That's the primary reason I'd do it. But I'd also do it to try to, set the tone of, of where you're at, that you do have a good front office, that you do have a good eye for talent, that you are rebuilding your offensive line. And last year it was Pooney, but this year it's going to be Moss at center and Colby at left guard. And in 2 short drafts, you've rebuilt your entire interior offensive line. Yeah. Do you need a tackle? Yeah. And that's probably next year's, top of the to-do list. But I think if you're I think a lot of people were like, the Niners totally ignored their offensive line. And I always said, hey, the only difference between Chris Forster, Damon, and Bob McKittrick is that Bob McKittrick's Niners won the Super Bowl and Chris Forster's Niners have lost the Super Bowl. That's the only difference. They're basically, McKittrick went with undersized offensive linemen that nobody else saw value in, that didn't get drafted high. The only first-round pick was Harris Barton. The rest of them were late-round picks. Heck, Jesse Sapolu, I think, might have been a 12th-round pick. They don't even have 12 rounds anymore. So basically, he was like an undrafted free agent. So the Niners under McKittrick did this. This is how they won, but they won Super Bowls. So everybody's like, McKittrick is awesome. He's a Hall of Famer. McKittrick. Well, guess what? Forster's a good coach too, and he's doing the exact same thing. They haven't won the Super Bowl yet, right. And so everybody's losing their mind. The Niners don't have a bad O-line according to the rankings. They're like a mid-pack O-line. So I think we just all need to remember a couple things. One, O-line play is really bad in this league, and as bad as your O-line may look, it's really kind of mid-pack. And two, they are in the process of rebuilding this thing. And then the question is just, should they go for it now? And I think I would. I'd sit the Brendels and the Barches, and I'd play the Mosses and the Colbys and take my lumps early on, because I believe in the future of Moss and Colby more than I believe in the future of Barch and Brendel. So that's what I would do. I don't think that's what they will do, but I do think that the most exciting kind of surprise, let's say, Damon, outside of Valdez, has been Moss and Colby. I think they're definitely part of the answer.
Larry, speaking of what would you do, let's get to Juwan Jennings, because here's a player who I don't think we need to explain who he is, what he represents, what his value is to the Niners, as opposed to what it would be in the hierarchy of all wide receivers and all of football. We all sort of get it. And we all know why there is a stagnation here in the negotiation, coupled with a real calf injury. What do you do? And here's what I think you do. You're all out of room for perfect. You better just get pretty damn good. And that means you're going to have to spend more money on Juwan Jennings than you wanted to. And this is the corner that you painted yourselves into, San Francisco 49ers. And I think they got to bite down on that leather bit and take it and just pay Juwan Jennings. Just get him in. Football season starts in 23 days. We don't have a lot of time for clever. Get him in.
Yeah, I don't agree. This is part of the problem, is that you keep, not you, but they keep caving to these guys. Stop caving. The reason that Juwan is pouting is because Ayuk did the same thing last year. And
can I caveat that? I don't mean get him in. He's now a $20 million a year wide receiver. If that is the only bridge that you can walk across, then that should have been evaluated weeks ago. That should have been on the horizon of the way the Niners do business. First of all, they should have anticipated this holdout. There's
a problem here. We have a problem here. There's a problem because there's no real solution. And that's why this is so frustrating. There's no real solution. Juwan's holding out. He has a contract for $7.5 million. This article came out with Kawakami saying it started with the calf injuries legit, because the Niners want that out there, because it probably is legit. I'm not debating that it's somewhat legit that he has a calf injury. But once again, if a guy's got a calf injury, then why the hell would you ever extend him? So maybe they aren't going to extend him, right? Maybe they're not going to extend him. Maybe that's the whole plan of, Juwan, let's stick with it's a calf injury because we're not going to extend you. And eventually you're going to come back, and we don't want you to lose face as the guy who lost the negotiation. We want you to be happy. But here's the problem, Damon. If you rip up his $7.5 million contract, you're setting a precedent that's awful, and you're creating locker room disharmony because all the offensive linemen are going to be like, dude, why the fuck are you doing that for JJ and you're not doing that for McKivitz? I mean, McKivitz is a free agent at the end of the year. He's your starting right tackle. He's coming off a pretty decent year. He thinks he's got a Pro Bowl type year coming up. You're going to reward Juwan for being the squeaky wheel and not practicing, but you're going and whether it's a calf or partly a calf or not, but McKivitz has been out there practicing every day in the hot sun. So if you rip up his contract, it's a bad precedent. Would you agree?
It is. The Niners also are making a bet with McKivitz. McKivitz has a great year. If he is a Pro Bowler, guess who's an $18.5 million, $22.5 million player going into free agency next year? A starting right tackle.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What are you going to get more out of? You're going to get more out of people that are motivated. The biggest aberration of our lifetime, if you want to say as expectations versus results, is the 2021 Giants, San Francisco Giants. Well, what did they have going for them? What they had, believe it or not, is that they actually had, of like the 25 guys on the roster, like 19 of them didn't have like a promise of where they were playing the next year. So everybody was like playing for a contract, and it really benefited them. They had a bunch of guys who had career years.
Year's a motivating factor.
Yes. So don't take away people's motivation by paying everybody. Don't do that. So here's the issue. If you pay him and you rip up his contract, then you've got new problems. You have more people copying him. Every time any player outperforms his contract, he's going to demand that treatment, the Juwan Jennings treatment, the Brandon Ayuk treatment. So you're setting a bad precedent. That's one. Two, if the Niners, let's say, there is an extension out there, since they love the player, right? They love him. If there is an extension idea out there that the Niners would be totally down with, and that is a short-term extension that funnels JJ a few more millions of dollars this year, let's say, but doesn't change his 7.5, but tacks on an extra year or two. And that, a lot of people are thinking, is the solution. I've seen Tim Kawakami and others, Damon, suggest that that is the solution. But almost every single one of these scenarios includes buying out JJ's big free agent payday, which comes next March. And Rosenhaus doesn't want to do that. So they're going to have to figure out a creative way to A, not tear up his contract, and B, not change his free agent status for next March. He still has to have 7.5 base, and he has to be a free agent coming up in March. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So what that is, Damon, is like a tap dance of meaninglessness.
It's
like,
tough.
We'll tell the agent that it's this, so the agent can celebrate. I've got my guy at $20 million. But in reality, it's just cap shenanigans, moving stuff around. I guess they could do that. I guess that's the solution. But the other thing is this. Do you want they can't just say, you know what, you got a contract, come back and honor it and play hardball, because he's a very powerful presence in the room, Damon. And I would say you don't want an unhappy Juwan Jennings in your room. So I think it really comes down to they either come up with some, as I just painted, meaningless little tap dance money thing where Rosenhaus can be like, hey, I got to win. And the Niners are like, well, not really, because he's still making the same amount that he was going to make. But he's got a new deal, a couple $1 million more, and he's in the locker room happy. If he's not happy, he's not worth having. So I would say that's the only solution that brings him back. The only other solution is you trade him. And I don't know, the Niners don't want to do that. But and who knows if there's anybody even out there that wants to trade for him.
And
there may not be one.
And the minute Jennings steps off the tarmac and into that brand new locker room, he exists in the exact same situation that he exists in right now. Unless
on his new team, if he gets traded.
Unless that team restructures and resigns and does all that. So
but Damon, they might. Like the other reason the Niners probably don't want to do this is they've already done this. Like one of the things was like the Niners are already done. Like they've already spent, like the people I've talked to around the team who are privy to these negotiations and what's going on say, hey, look, we've done our spending, we've done our contracts. We're not looking to do another big money long-term extension with anybody. We just want to, we're here to play this year with what we got. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. As I said, they love the player, but
here's the thing:
it's not easy to make him happy here. It really isn't.
I hear you when you talk about precedent upsetting who or whom in the locker room. Like I get it all, but
just do this, Damon. You and your wife tonight go buy Jack a really cool toy and present it to him at dinner tonight in front of little Oz and see how that goes.
Oh, it's going to go great.
But don't get anything for Oz. Nothing for him, just Jack. And then see if that complicates the night in the bedtime arrangement or makes things go smoother. It's not really that different. I mean, I know it's football and everything, but it's really not that different.
Here's the thing. But if we need Jack to win tomorrow, I don't want to upset Ozzy, but we got to take care of this to get that win tomorrow.
But Ozzy's
after that, Oz.
But Ozzy's protecting your blind side. You know what I mean? Ozzy's McKivitz.
We anticipated all this. That's why we took care of him in 2 off seasons ago. I mean, I had
got extra juice boxes.
Foresight. Yes, we know the power of the juice box debate in here too.
So anyway, it's a complicated situation. It's not as easy as
the right way to do it has passed. Now,
and it's not as easy
and get it done. I think you just got to get it done. I don't agree because that kind of mentality of, just do it is how we got here. That's how they signed Ayuk. They probably should have let Ayuk walk. I mean, look at the best teams. Who's the best team in pro football? Well, Brandon Ayuk produced in a way that Juwan Jennings has not. I mean,
I know, but let's just say you can't. How did the Kansas City let Tyreek Hill go? Green Bay let Devontae Adams go. Buffalo let Diggs go. I mean, you can't pay everybody in a hard cap sport, and you got to stop paying all these receivers and start building your line of scrimmage. The Niners need to, if anything, I'd rather trade JJ for an offensive lineman. You got a bunch of receivers. You can fill in with Jordan Watkins. You can fill in with Russell Gage.
Okay, but the time to do that,
there's not a huge difference between Russell Gage and Juwan Jennings. There's not. But there's a huge difference between, a good and bad offensive lineman or, potentially. I mean, I would just, I like JJ. I think he's a really good player. I admire him for his toughness, but I would say to him, I don't think he'd be happy with me, because if I was John Lynch, I would say to him, JJ, you know what? You're right. You are a tad underpaid, but you're not significantly underpaid. You're a tad underpaid, and we would like to rectify that for you. So how about 2-year deal for $20 million with X number of dollars guaranteed, and we'll go forward. We'll tack it on. We'll tack on 2 years, at $10 million a year to your contract, and we'll give you a 2-year extension. Well, guess what? He's not going to go for it, Damon, because if he even has a decent year, Rosenhaus knows he's staring at 3 years, $50 million. And that's the big get. All this stuff is small potatoes. What they want to do is have a good year, get paid in March, 3 years, $50 million by somebody. Doesn't even have to be here. But anywhere. That's what they're after. 25 million. He's after 3 years, $50 million with 25 million guaranteed. That's the deal that sets up JJ and the Jennings family. Beyond.
Then go play.
I agree.
Light a candle. Hope you don't get hurt. Go play. Bet on yourself. And good luck. Hopefully the Niners benefit. And then they can wave goodbye and everybody's happy at the end of the day.
Can I show you what Kev tweeted? Because this is pretty good. And it really does, I think, paint a very crystal picture of the JJ situation. This is Kev Kruger. This is where Juwan Jennings ranks now among wide receivers in APY. He's 45th. The guys in front of him are Bourne and Brandon Cooks. The guys behind him are Rome Odunze and Drake London. Okay, look at those receivers and tell me, do you think JJ belongs in that group. Or if the Niners give him what he wants, which is what they're saying, 1 year, $22 million, that would be tied for 19th. That would put him in this group with Terry McLaurin, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, and Stephon Diggs. Damon, let's be honest about this. I love JJ. You love JJ. Niner fans love JJ. He's tough as hell. He's a winner. He showed up on Super Bowl Sunday. He belongs in this top group more than he belongs in this bottom group. He's not as good as McLaurin or Devontae or Godwin or Diggs. They are all significantly better, more accomplished receivers. This is the group that he belongs in up here. This is the group that he's in currently. So I'm not losing sleep over JJ wants a new deal, other than he's a very powerful presence in the locker room, and I can't have him there if he's unhappy.
Here's the thing.
How do we get him in the room
paying a little bit more? I wouldn't mind paying just a little bit more to make everybody comfortable and bring him back for one more year after this. But you can't, if you want to cross that $1 million a year threshold, okay,
Damon,
so
he's not going to do that.
And they should have traded him a month ago. Do they have zero instincts? Do they not know that Rosenhaus is going to drive a big bargain, that Juwan is officially all the way to the end unhappy? Like, be proactive. It feels like the Niners are way too observant, not proactive enough in some of these decisions. Again, the time to have traded Ayuk wasn't after you had signed him and given him the big deal. It was in the draft before that, but they didn't do that. Then they instantly had buyer's remorse on the contract. Then all of a sudden it's Ayuk for McLaurin. Then that didn't happen.
You're right. I agree with you on this one. They need to have more what I would call conviction about their personnel decisions. More conviction. If you really have a plan, then have a plan. I mean, that's as simple as that. By the way, the two most exciting guys right now, I'll stop sharing, but the two most exciting guys on the 49er offense are these guys right here. That I saw this earlier. I was going to put this up, but here, this is Colby and Moss in a one-on-one drill.
Hey, mute that thing before we get trademarked.
So there's Colby 75. There's Moss 55. This is your starter at left guard. This is your starter at center. And I don't know if it's going to be right away, but I think this is the future. I love both those guys. These were two really good signings. This is what I'm saying. It's like,
can we get Drew Moss a non-duplicate number if he's going to be that? Obviously, the 49ers have not made up their decision on Drew Moss because he's still got a number that another dude's wearing. So
yeah, that's true. We did title this the injuries. By the way, we haven't talked at all about C.J. West, Michael Williams, and Isaac Guerrero.
We did. We just said they got 3 rookie defensive linemen, all drafted, all have been hurt before they've even taken a snap that matters. That sucks.
Okay, but what are the updates? The updates are the CJ West knee buckled. And so he's going to be out. He's got a hyperextension, same as Mikel. Neither are considered long-term. CJ walked off the practice field. He's expected to miss at least a week, probably not significantly more than that. That's the update on him. Mikel is not going to play in this game and may not play in the next game. We'll see. But he also has the hyperextended knee. He's been resting it a little bit more. Guerrero looks great at practice on the side field because he's running great because his injuries to the shoulder. But he's going to be out at least a couple weeks. I would say you're not going to see him before week 1, but I do believe, Damon, you will see him on week 1. So, and then there's just a whole slew of other injuries that the Niners keep signing, reinforcements in the secondary, at wide receiver, on the offensive line, on the defensive line. I'll say this: they have to find. I hope John Lynch has a plan to not just, to really canvas the league at the cut down for extra players. Because, for example, let's take the Niners wide receiver room as an example, Damon. I think there's a very good chance we'll go into week 1 of the regular season, and the Niners will not have Ayuk. They may not have Jennings if he's holding out, or if he's not ready to go, or if he's got this calf injury, or you know what I mean. So I would say don't bank. You're not going to have Ayuk. Don't bank on Jennings.
Doesn't sound like Watkins is going to be out there week one.
Watkins, I think, could be ready around there, but probably not week one. You're right. I think Demarcus Robinson suspension. I don't know when it's going to come, but I do think it's coming at the beginning. So that's 4 receivers you're down. So that's it. I mean, you're down 4 receivers. So what do you have? You have Rick. That's really good. You have Ricky Pearsall. You have Jacob Cowing if he can stay healthy. You have Junior Bergen, who's a special teamer. You have Russell Gage, the veteran. Those 4. And then after that, it's just like guys.
Tariq Owens land.
Yeah, I mean, Tariq Owens, Isaiah Hodgins, Robbie Chosen, Malik Turner. You're talking about those guys. So my point is this. You're going to have those 4 receivers. There's going to be a bunch of receivers. Like right now, bringing in Malik Turner makes total sense. Why? He knows the offense. He's on the street. You can get him. He's a camp body. But eventually, on the 26th and leading into the 26th, there'll be a bunch of guys, receivers that are cut at different spots around the league. And the Niners should take a flyer on a young receiver that they liked in the draft that gets cut, or some other team tries to squeeze them through to the practice squad. I threw out Elijah Badger from Kansas City last night to Dieter, but there are others. But Elijah Badger is the guy I would be looking for. Look for a young receiver that you could put on your roster. Yeah, granted, he's not gonna have a rhythm with Purdy. He's not gonna know the offense. There's all kinds of negatives to bringing in a young receiver early on. But you need a full complement. You're going to have a couple open roster spots at receiver to begin the year. Take a look at a couple young receivers that you think have real upside and see if you can catch lightning in the bottle. Because if you can find even one good receiver out of that group, let's just say you went for an Elijah Badger, who I think is a really good player. He's a NorCal kid. He's from Sacramento, played at ASU, played at Florida, signed after the draft by the Chiefs. Chiefs are probably not going to not have him make the roster, but he's good. He only had 2 drops his entire college career. He's a really good player. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a faster version of JJ, to be honest. He's a really gutty, tough kid. Go get a player like that, put him on the roster at the beginning of the year, and take a 2 or 3 week look at them in some capacity and figure out if you can, unearth a foundation piece. It happens. Believe it or not, it happens.
It's hard to pan for that gold and expect to come away with a real nugget. It really is.
But you found Sebastian Valdez. You know what I mean? You found some of these guys. So obviously you have an idea.
He might not even be on the roster when it's all said and done. I hope he is. I think he is. But he might not even be on the roster.
Oh, Valdez?
Yeah.
No, Valdez. I mean,
I hope so. I hope so. But
yeah, you never know.
Happened. Funnier things have happened.
I mean, if he doesn't make the roster, then they will absolutely for sure lose him on waivers. I mean,
no doubt about that. He's Keenan Allen for $8.5 million sounds a lot easier than all of this. Should have done it. Keenan Allen should have done it. You wouldn't be talking about JJ or his contract. You got Keenan Allen already in there.
I don't agree, because these old receivers, Buffalo traded for Amari Cooper. You could argue Amari Cooper was a great addition for Buffalo. He did nothing.
But here's the thing.
Old receivers, when they get to a certain point, they lose their ability to separate. It's a young man's game. Give me a young receiver who's ascending over an old receiver.
Will Shanahan trust him and play him? Will Shanahan trust him and play him? I think Shanahan's trust of Keenan Allen, it would have been easier to groom and develop for early season play than the guy that they might find on cut down day who won't even be dressed on
I think
day.
You're wrong on this one. Here's why. Because Keenan Allen plays one spot. What they really need from the guy who's going to come in as this last receiver guy, they need somebody who's going to be able to play all the spots. Like you can play the X, the Y, you can play in the slot, you can do a bunch of things. They're going to need a more versatile. It's like the last offensive lineman has to be able to play all 5 spots. The last receiver has to be able to play special teams and all. There is no special teams anything from Keenan Allen. So they don't want to bring in a receiver, another star receiver they have to kowtow to and not use on special teams. They want a versatile player.
Again, it's a little late to look for perfect. Keenan Allen sounded pretty good to me.
We'll see what he does.
We'll see what he does. If look at it this way, if he has a great year, holy shit, we're going to be clipping things from things that I said about Keenan Allen. I'm going to look like a genius. And if he has a bad year, what the hell do I know? Let's get into some supers here, Larry. It's officially time.
Fuji Simeon, bottom of the pint tonight, Larry. John is a go. No bottom of the pint for me tonight. I'm taking tonight off.
Fuji's really trying to set that up. By the way,
and you know what? I love bottom of the pint. John and I were going to do bottom of the pint last week. We had the plan to do it, but Johnny in the 11th hour couldn't do it. But tonight I have a conflict, so I can't do it. I will not be doing Niners Nightly tonight, and I will not be doing bottom of the pint tonight. But I do. Fuji, we will be back. Tell John, and I'll send John a text after the show, but we'll definitely be doing bottom of the pint down the stretch here.
Speaking of we'll be back, Larry, will we be back on Sunday morning with a Sunday 9 a.m. wake up day after Niners play? Of course, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And we will not be on Monday because you're going to be back at practice, and Jack is back in elementary school. Jack starts as a first grader on Monday. So I got to be there for that. It's a big daddy drop-off day.
It's a big day. Just don't baby him. Just let him get in there. Let him get in there, and if tears be gone. But
no, I'll tell you, man, this kid has spent all summer walking into strange schools with groups of kids he does not know, and he handles it like a champ.
Celebrate it. If you show him, if you that's the one thing. If you celebrate the courage, then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm gonna be courageous and I'm gonna be proud, and that's what you want. MSQ says most popular sport on earth is football, not football. I know what you're saying.
Right.
The international sport of the world is soccer, football, but as far as what is the most visually compelling sports entertainment on the globe, it's the NFL. I don't
just ask Taylor Swift.
I think it is. MSQ, how much could Krug bench, squat, and deadlift in his prime? First of all, I'm not a big squat deadlift guy. Though I probably could squat 2 1/4. As far as what's the best bench I've ever had, the best bench I ever had was 275, but that was a 22-year-old me. So I would not even attempt 275. I'm not working towards that, by the way. I'm pretty much topped out there. I want to be able to, defend myself if people come at my channel. You know what I mean? I want, if I get attacked, I want to be able to say, you know what? There you go.
He doesn't want to get strong to defend himself in a physical altercation. He wants video evidence to be able to dump on anyone who says, can't do it, pretty boy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm getting tired of, hey, you fat face, this and that, blah, 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 you non-athlete, this and that. It's like, hey, come on, man.
Hey,
I played varsity sports. I'm 55 with 4 kids. But when my kid said, I want to play high school football, I said, you know what? Let's go lift, man, because you don't play football without lifting. And so it's been a thing for me and him to do together. I've got 3 boys. You guys know Kev, but I've got Ben and Chris. And I like to lift weights with them. And it's been good for me. And I didn't think I'd have gains, but I went in there, and sure enough, I have gotten gains. MSQ said, should we fire Melvin, sign Bochy in the offseason? Let me think about that. Yeah.
How about this? Sign Melvin and hire Bob Barker in the offseason. You can't do work. But Bob Melvin is officially now the visual representation of the manager who gets in a dugout and then the whole team underachieves. He had that overachiever reputation in Oakland. He goes to the Padres, Giants. So bye-bye, Bob. Sleepy Bob.
It's just not happening. They need more. They need a higher energy. They need more energy.
Posey screwed that up. The fact that he extended Melvin was just stupid. Stupid when he did it, and looks even dumber now.
Well, no. I think it was smart when he did it, because that's the parting gift. You know, I mean, that's so you got Bob you hired him, right? You hired Bob Melvin. Okay.
Posey didn't.
Or no, you inherited Bob Melvin, but you wanted to have the continuity of it. So you gave him the extension to try to give him a little bit more juice in the room. Okay. So it didn't work. But you gave him more money. And now you say goodbye. Right. Because look at it this way, Damon. If you bring him back, you're in the same spot that you're in this year, next year, where, he's a lame duck situation. He's got no voice, no power. The guys aren't listening to him because it's a lame duck situation. Well, what do? Do we extend him again? No. I tweeted out a list of potential managers. I had Sean Dunston, Ryan Vogelsong, Yadier Molina, Stephen Vogt. There's a bunch of guys out there. They need a more passionate leader. That's simple as that. A couple more before we get out of here. MSQ, where does TWBB, JB, DP, CM, O-line rank in the NFL? Trent Williams, Ben Barch, Jake Brendel, Dom Pooney. I would say it's like 15th.
Yeah, they're in the middle. They live right in the middle of the. Do you have an okay offensive line? Yeah, they're good, but are they great? No. Are they deplorable? No.
They lean on Trent a lot. MSQ, Bruce Bochy's contract ends in 2025. Yes, it does. Joseph Ernberg, O-line full of, what is that?
Toilet bugs.
Is that what that is?
Toilet bug. I see a toilet, and it looks like it might be a caterpillar.
2026 our year loading.
Who spends more money to dump on the Niners than Joseph Ernberg?
I love the negativity, though. I really do. I love a good negative person from time to time. It's just you and I have bought homes on the great negativity of the audience. MSQ. Damon has a really nice multi-million-dollar home in San Francisco that could have a gigantic sign of anger built this house.
I'm going to tell you right now, Sports Talk Radio is fueled by that didn't go right more than it is, boy, that was fantastic.
Or just a big sign in front of your house, blankety blank stepped in it. That's why we have this house.
Trade everybody.
Yeah, exactly. MSQ, Krug and Bruce, if you could construct the starting offensive line with guys currently on the roster, who were starting 5 and the swing tackle? That is a good question. That is a great one, man. Go ahead, Damon. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, we know who the tackles are. The tackles are the tackles. Pooney isn't going anywhere. Am I just comfortable saying Connor Colby is now my starting right guard? I don't know if I'm there yet. I did like Ben Barch, but if he can't stay healthy, I think Burford probably is a better tackle or a guard than he will be a tackle for sure. So you can put him there. And at center, again, I would love to see what Drake Nugent's got before I assume he don't got it.
That's a good one too. I didn't think
I'd
about
love
him.
to see what Drew Moss could maybe do, even though I would have loved to have seen them spend one big free agent contract on Drew Dolman. And if they had done that, boy, I think Drew Dolman would have been don't need to worry about the middle of your offensive line signing. They chose not to do it. And here we are worried about the middle of the offensive line.
I'll go Trent Williams at left tackle, Connor Colby at left guard. I'll stay with Brendel at center because it is the cerebral position, and it's like your choices are the wily old veteran or the rookie and undrafted guys. So I'll go with the wily old veteran to start. Then I'll go with Pooney, and I'll go with McKivitz. And my swing tackle is Isaiah Prince. There's no question about it. I'm dead serious.
He's the guy out there now.
Yeah, and exactly. It's just I'm dead serious when I say that. I've lost my love and feeling for Pleasance and for Burford. I don't believe in them anymore, and so I would go with Prince. Just because he's the only guy left, really. But I probably would look for the waiver wire or a trade. And I think a trade makes sense, to be honest. You may have to trade something significant like a third or fourth round pick, but it might make sense because your third tackle is kind of important. The guy that I would try to get, if I could get him, is Denver's third tackle. His name's Alex Palczewski. I just was very impressed with him in the O-line drills. He went to Illinois, wrestling background, tough as hell. I'll give you one other name that I really like as a potential acquisition, Damon, at the cutdown deadline, is my good buddy, the former Kansas City Chief, Nick Allegretti, who won Super Bowls with the Chiefs and is a really good player. But he has gotten beaten out on the Commanders' offensive line by Sam Cosmi for a starting job. And there's a lot of talk that Allegretti is either going to be the backup or could be cut. He is the kind of cerebral, tough guy, versatile guy who could play center, guard, even right tackle. He can't play left tackle, but he could play right tackle. If I could trade for a Nick Allegretti, who the Niners did show interest in free agency when he was available, that might be the kind of piece that could fortify the offensive line. I would be looking to fortify the offensive line at the cutdown some way for sure. MSQ, where would the 2012 Niners O-line with Staley, Yapati, Goodwin, Boone, Davis rank in today's NFL? I think it would be a top 5 line. How would they compare to this year's Niner line? It would be better. That's a bigger, more physical, dominating line. Davis, Goodwin. I mean, Goodwin was a very good center. Boone, the Boonster and Yapati were houses. And then Davis and Staley. I mean, those are big physical tackles. I mean, that's a great line. MSQ, how would the MLB be if they had a cap space? I mean, I think the MLB definitely is in need of something that they don't need a cap, they need a floor. Right. They need to force the dog meat teams who look at their payroll and go, well, you know what? We're not going to win probably. So let's just spend $30 million less.
Don't even try.
Like, you need to make those teams spend the money. It costs a lot to go to these games. The league's only as good as the weakest team in it, and baseball needs a salary cap floor more than they need a ceiling. MSQ, how would the NFL and NBA be if they didn't have a cap?
All over the place. You'd have drunken owners outspending each other. In basketball, it'd be really nuts. You'd have
dynasties. You'd have super teams and irrelevance, basically, is what you're talking about. Batman 29, thoughts on the new NFL rule declaring onside kicks?
Stinks. The best part of the onside kick was an element of surprise. That's how it really happened. If it happened at all, it was still a single-digit percentage to recover even on the surprise. Feels even less so than without the surprise. I'm going to tell you that the new dynamic kickoff and all that stuff, I just go back to the way it was. It sucks.
That's going to do it for us. Have a great Friday, everybody. Damon, I'll give you the final word.
Hey, just want to say thank you. Please join me. The studio is up right now on my YouTube channel for tomorrow. We're going to do a live stream and a watch party during 49ers and Raiders preseason tilt. Larry and I will be back on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. here for a day after wake up. We'll be taking Monday off. Then we'll be checking in throughout the rest of the week. So like and subscribe across both. Thank you so very much. And have a great weekend. We're going to play some football, but we have football back. Kinda. It feels good.
Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sharp Corner, Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades. I am streaming right now with Chase Sr. So if you're watching and you want a little bit more Niner talk, join me next.